What up, guys? Bobo here with BrassReel Brothers. Excuse me. Thanks for joining me for this little bit of immediate reaction. Like I told you guys, I'm going to start doing this right after I see movies, and I'm going to do a review. I didn't get to my review for Parade the other day just because I've been so busy trying to put the finishing touches on my short film Late Court, or me and me and Andrew's film Late Court. Um, so we just have to focus on that right now. And so I've been kind of missing out on all my reviews. Is I need to touch up on those better. I need to keep up to date with those. So I am working on my review for Bodies right now, which is what I'm going to talk about right now. Give you my immediate reactions real quick. So I just went and saw this movie last night late, and I was going to do this reaction last night, but I got a couple of bad pieces of bad news about some things. So my mind wasn't in the right spot. So I just woke up this morning and I'm doing this. So if you guys hadn't seen the trailer for this, again, I'm not going to really dive deep into this. This is just sort of my immediate thoughts. I'll get deeper into details in my actual edited review I'll put out. But I loved this movie. I thought it was great. It was super fun. Now, it was, I would say, a horror comedy, but leaning more towards the horror, but it wasn't all that super scary. It would just had sort of some tense moments, but it had comedy riddled throughout. But it wasn't a comedy horror. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like a comedy that had horror elements sprinkled in. It definitely was a horror movie first, but the comedy was all throughout. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but it was really, really enjoyable. I had a really good time with it. Oh, what's up? Rich and Famous Style 69. How you doing, man? Nice to see you. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm not going to really dive deep into details, but it was hilarious. If you can see the cast, I'll actually pull up the cast real fast. It's let me do it like this. So Rachel Sennett on the left, to me, she kind of stole the show. She was hilarious. She was kind of like a woo girl, one of those woo all the time, drink bitches. But Amanda Steinberg, Maria Bakalova, she was kind of interesting in it. Pete Davidson was hilarious as always. Chase Sewell Wonders was great. Lee Pace was great. Man, these names are crazy. Mathala Harold and Connor O'Malley. This is literally the only people in the movie. There's nobody else in this movie. This is it. They're stuck in this house during the middle of a hurricane, and they're partying. They're wanting to throw this huge party. They're having a blast and all that stuff. And as you've seen in the trailer, if you haven't seen it, they want to play this game, Bodies, which is kind of like an adult Clue. And they run around, and if you touch some person on the back, you have to pretend you're dead, turn the lights back on because you turn the lights off to start the game. And then you have to try to figure out who the killer is. I'm not going to say anything more about it, but all I have to say is that the girls were hilarious. It touched on a lot of modern day social humor, like social media type humor. So if you're involved with like doing online content or streaming or any of the online platforms that require sort of that social media presence, you're going to laugh at a lot of jokes in this. Like, there was a lot of stuff catered towards that. Has a really awesome soundtrack the whole way through. Like, I was really having a good time with the music that was in this movie. And I know that people are like, you're complimenting a movie for its music, but for real, the music in this movie kept up a really fun pace. And I have a really huge, like, in my top 5 dream girls, maybe top 6, because I can't narrow one of them out, but that's a whole other video. But one of them is Charlie XCX. She's been a producer and a songwriter for a long time for a lot of pop artists, but she's, finally in the past few years come out with a lot of her own material. And I love that girl. I love her music. I love her behavior. I love what she stands for. I love her look and everything like that. And, hopefully if I become a filmmaker in the industry one day, I'll be able to work with her at some point, because I just like what she adds, her energy and everything. And it fully added to this movie. Like, you can hear it, you can feel it when her songs are playing. So, and she wrote music for this movie. So immediately for me walking into this movie, it was kind of like I was already decided it was kind of a cult classic in my head, because I knew sort of the premise and the music behind it. It was sort of supposed to be this kind of party horror movie. And it is. You have a lot of fun with it. There's twists and turns. You have surprisingly tense moments that I didn't realize was going to happen. It takes place all in this house. It's a badass house. You know, it's like a rich person's house. And there is a backstory with characters and all that stuff that starts to unfold and things like that. But mostly it's just this big party. It's kind of like an adult Clue. And the way that they utilize a lot of dark moments because they're playing this game in the dark, to do that on camera and film it and it stay like interesting and be able to see everything and to be lit well and stuff like that is a harder task than a lot of people realize. And they did it really well in this movie. It's a lot of it's in the dark and then walking around with flashlights and stuff. And it's a lot of fun. And you feel like you're in their shoes, walking with the flashlights through this big ass mansion that you don't know anything about. You're not familiar with, you're visiting it. So if you guys are horror movie fans, comedy, horror fans, anything like that, if you're just a horror movie junkie like myself, which by the way, I love this shirt, huh? Friday the 12th. Um, I would totally recommend this movie. Now, don't go in expecting to be like a super gruesome horror film. Don't go expecting, don't get me wrong, it has good kills in it, has really good kills, but don't go in expecting to see something sadistic. Don't go in to see something that's like, oh my God, that really got me. That jolted me. That disturbed me. It's not that line of horror film. And if you're a true horror movie fan, you know that there are genres and levels to horror. There's all these different styles. Like horror has become its own style of movie making, that there are all these subgenres within horror. You know, there's comedy horror, there's supernatural horror, there's elevated, sophisticated horror, there's straight up smut slasher horror, you know, and there's things that are barely horror movies like Silence of the Lambs. That's a movie that really is a horror movie, but it's kind of an Oscar movie that's a horror movie in disguise because of the cast that was a part of it, because of the directors, just the production, everything behind it. But at its core, it's a freaking horror movie. You know what I mean? So there's all these levels of horror movies, and Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is one of those horror movies that fits into a subgenre that's just fun. Like if you're having a house party or something like that, this movie is totally awesome to put on in the background. Perfect to put on the background as a background horror film. You know, it's kind of the same thing with putting, you know, just, I don't know, like the movie Speed on in the background. You can just see all these fun things happening. And that was probably a bad example, but this is a good movie. It's fun. If you're a true horror nut, I totally recommend going to see this one. You'll have a lot of fun. It's not long. They don't expect you to stay in the theater, you know, for a long time. It's like 90 minutes. So nice and tight and short, wraps it up, but tells a fun story. And there's some twists and turns. And it's something fresh. It was original. And if you watch my channel much, I really appreciate original stuff. Hey, thanks for the code there. Yeah, in the style of Bane. Yeah. Well, let me see if I can put that together. That could be kind of fun, right? Like do a trailer. If that's what you're asking, do like a trailer in the style of the Bane voice. I'll see if I can work that out. That'll be fun. But check out, hey, and look, Rich and Famous, if you like horror movies, or if you like fun horror movies, I definitely recommend checking this one out. It's not like a knock it out of the park, amaze me, oh my God, home run, but it was original. I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't expect what was going on. I kind of like start putting pieces together a little bit in the movie, but they want you to do that because it is a little bit in the vein of the movie Clue in certain elements. I mean, I guarantee you they would say that. But it's funny. It's very interesting. It's well paced. And like I said, there are moments to where you really feel like you're in their shoes walking through this dark house with a flashlight that you're unfamiliar with this home. And so go see it, guys. I think it's good. And also look for my review that I'm actually going to put out later today. That's like a full on edited review. I'll highlight moments of the film and stuff like that. And also let me just say, Rachel Sennett, the girl that played the Woo girl, I'll show her one more time right here. This girl right here on the left, she is hilarious in the movie. Like I'm telling you, she had me cracking up multiple times. Everybody's funny in it, but she specifically stood out to me. I thought she was great. Well, hey guys, thanks for tuning in for this little quick initial reaction. And I definitely, oh, hang on. We got Rich and Famous said that really don't watch many modern movies, but giving up hope. Yeah. Hey, look, I understand that there's not a ton of shit coming out these days that doesn't feel regurgitated. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, well, I've seen this before. It's just packaged differently. But to me, this had a lot of fun, original tones to it. So I recommend it. again, don't expecting to go be blown away with an Oscar winner. Just expect to go have a lot of fun with this comedy horror or horror comedy. But thank you guys for real for tuning in this quick one. Again, look out for my edited review that I'm going to have coming out later today. Like I said, that'll be focusing on specific parts of the movie, and also be looking for the Late Court updated trailer as well. And as always, life gives you lemons. Make some hot, fresh popcorns.